27 years went by before I even thought about going public with this. And in the meantime, of course, I tried to forget it because I didn't want to be, drunk in some bar telling this story, because I'd go to jail for a long time.
Holy mackerel, that can't be aircraft. There actually is a large unidentified object circling the Earth at incredible speed.
Naturally, we are very curious to know where it is you come from.
I'll talk about the March 16th one first. Walt Fiegel was on duty. He's, Deputy Missile Combat Crew Commander is what we were called. So there was a crew of two, and we worked underground, about 60 feet underground, in a concrete, reinforced steel concrete capsule, locked in for 24 hours until relieved the next day. While he was on duty, he got a call. Well, first of all, he got an indicator light. Something was wrong at one of the sites at Echo Flight. Picked up the phone, called the guards and maintenance people that were out there. They had spent the night because they're doing some kind of a work at one of the sites. And so he told them, you shouldn't have started yet without getting my permission. He said, we didn't start. There's a UFO above us or some kind of a light. I don't know if they use that word, but there's something strange going on above them. And they were just about to call him to report it. Well, at that point, his missiles started going down. All 10 lost alert status. And the readout was, again, guidance and control system failure. But he lost all 10 missiles within 10 seconds. This is well documented. I've got many documents that'll support that. I've also got letters from Fiegel's commander, Eric Carlson, confirming this event. Fiegel talks about. I've got Fiegel on tape on radio, telephone recording that I made with his permission. So that's the basic evidence I've got for that one. My incident happened 8 days later. I was on duty. I was in command of the launch control facility. And again, this is where we have full control underground. They have no control upstairs. I get a call from my guard first saying that there's strange lights flying in the sky. They're making 90-degree turns. They're not airplanes. He said, there's no engine noise. Very unusual. He wanted to report it. They were flying right over the facility. And I kind of laughed at him a little bit. I said, you mean like UFOs? And he said, well, I can't explain it. They're not airplanes. And so he was serious. I took him, this was a serious report. It wasn't, we never joked around about that sort of thing. So I thanked him, hung up the phone. Then 5 minutes later, he calls back. This time he's very frightened. You can tell by his voice. He was scared to death. He had all the guards out there with their weapons pointed at this thing. I said, what are you talking about? He said, there's a glowing red light hovering above the facility, pulsating. Got all the guards out here. What should I do, sir? And so, he was very serious. He was frightened, yelling into the phone. I told him basically to ensure the facility was secure and not let anything in. I couldn't think of anything else to say. But when I hung up the phone with him, I felt that we were under some sort of an attack. It felt like an attack. And so immediately I go over there and wake up my commander, Fred Mywald, who's taking a rest break. But tell him about the phone calls, and all of a sudden the missiles indicators started going from green to red. Again, within seconds, they all shut down. So we lost all 10 and went through our procedures, reported the command post. The command post told Colonel Mywald that the same thing happened at another flight. I thought that meant that evening, but he was really referring to the Echo flight, which happened about 8 days earlier. So within the span of 8 days, we lost 20 nuclear tipped missiles to UFOs. And that's essentially the story.
But, and what a story. I mean, it's it's always grabbed my attention for years because looking at it, I know that there's some declassified documents on the follow-up even, with, I think Boeing came out because when as I understand it, these individual missile silos aren't like Christmas tree lights where if one goes down, the rest go down. These are individually powered, sustainable units. So it's not like there's a malfunction and one goes down, they all go down, but yet they systematically all went down, which is highly anomalous. And the findings from what I saw afterwards where there really wasn't any explanation as to why, and it was actually of grave concern, I think they put in the document.
Well, there are two important statements in the documents I got under the Freedom of Information Act. I got some official documents. The one statement is what you just said. This is of grave concern to this command because they couldn't understand how this could possibly happen. And we all knew how the system worked. We had cables, very thick cables that were triply shielded from EMI, electromagnetic interference, and they went to each missile separately. It's not like they were interconnected, no. The other document, another document stated at one point that rumors of UFOs have been disproven. That was a lie. Anyway, how do you disprove a rumor? And then the other part of that document, really important, that says, from our investigation, externally generated signals caused the missiles to go down. And since, let's see, as part of the equipment in the guidance and control system was called the logic coupler. Basically, it's the interface between the guidance system and the way we have of setting up the missile so it knows where it is at all times. Basically, the gyros and computer associated with that send information to the computer to calculate where the missile is at all times. So all this UFO did, and by the way, that statement in the document says, this is highly improbable. It's a highly improbable thing because all 10 logic couplers would have to go down within 1 second, basically, as seconds of each other. So you're talking about some kind of a failure mode where these things would have to fail all within a second of each other, and that just doesn't happen. So basically, they're saying the Air Force really admitted in this document that this was an impossible event. the next day I was ordered, and not only ordered, but I signed a non-disclosure statement, never to talk about this ever. So 27 years went by before I even thought about going public with this. And in the meantime, of course, I tried to forget it because I didn't want to be, drunk in some bar telling this story, because I'd go to jail for a long time. At any rate, so I didn't remember my commander, Mywald, turning to me and saying the same thing happened in another flight. At first, I didn't remember that. I didn't remember that for a while until I started contacting people I knew, and et cetera, and finally Mywald himself. So I didn't realize Echo Flight had gone down. When I got the documents back from the Air Force, I thought that was my incident. I thought that's what happened where I was. It turns out I wasn't even at Echo Flight. I was at Oscar Flight. And I didn't realize there had been 2 incidents within 8 days. It just blew my mind when I found that out.
27 years later, when you start looking into it and filing for Freedom of Information Act
Right.
documents, you got back the Echo Flight documents.
Exactly.
Not the Oscar flight that you were involved with. And you were like, that must have been eye-opening.
And so when I got those documents, within a short time period, I went public and said, this was a UFO incident. I was there, et cetera. And at that point, when we tried to get the Oscar documents, which I didn't realize we were at until 96, I think. So I did a FOIA in 94, got some Echo documents. 96, I found out I was Oscar, asked the Air Force for documents on Oscar, and they said, "What are you talking about?" And so they wouldn't send me any more documents, period, at that point, because I was already public saying this was a UFO event. So to this day, I don't really have any documents about the Oscar shutdown. What I do have, though, are other witnesses to the Oscar shutdown. I think this is a real important opportunity. Right now, of course, we've had the National Defense Intelligence Agency produced a report, said very little, basically that they're going to have to go back and look back in their files to see what they've got and come back to Congress, report again, which I'm sure they're going to say, well, this is going to take a lot of work. We're going to need more money to do this, more time, et cetera. In other words, I think the intelligence agencies in government now that are dealing with this are going to drag their feet as long as they can. We're going to try not to let them do that. And one way is through this press conference. We're going to bring in 4 or 5 witnesses talking about the direct connection between nuclear weapons and the many instances where UFOs have come over nuclear weapon sites and either fiddled with the missiles, interfered in some way, or just shone a light on the weapons or the storage where they're held, and flown away. So they've been telling us that they're paying attention to our nuclear program, both weapons and nuclear power sites also. But we're going to focus on the weapons instances. I've listed in my latest book about 14, I think, particular instances where UFOs and nuclear weapons have been involved. We'll talk about that also during the press conference. And the whole objective of the conference is to get the media attention and get attention to this so that, and then demand open hearings from Congress. We want to push for open hearings where witnesses can come forward under oath and tell their stories to Congress. And in this way, I think, is the best way to start prying open that those big secrets that have been held for about 75 years.